Wartime Wonders. How tough times created tasty dishes. Have you ever thought about how wartime challenges changed simple ingredients into wonderful meals? Let's find out. Woolton pie. In England, there's a pie called Woolton pie. It was named after Lord Woolton, the British Minister of Food who promoted the dish. Though the name sounds great, it is actually a pie without meat. During the hard times of World War II, people didn't have much food. Meat was especially scarce. Because of this, chefs in London used vegetables they had on hand, such as carrots and potatoes, to make a pie. The pie's main ingredients were mixed with thickened vegetable water, sometimes flour and butter, and topped with mashed potatoes. Some people added cheese for extra taste. The pie was simple but filling, which enabled families to get through hard times by using all they had. This pie was a brilliant solution to the meat shortages caused by the war.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
And I'm Laura.
And today we are beginning a very interesting 3-day article about food created during difficult times of history.
I'm hungry already.
As the article is titled, Wartime Wonders, How Tough Times Created Tasty Dishes. So as we read these, we will be learning about some history, and we'll also probably be making ourselves a little bit hungry.
I know, and it's a 3-day article. I'm going to feel hungry for 3 days.
And all of these dishes sound pretty good.
Yummy.
And they also have some interesting stories behind them. So what do you say we get into it and find out how some of these wartime wonders were created in kitchens during tough times in human history? All right, let's get to it. So the article begins, have you ever thought about how wartime challenges changed simple ingredients into wonderful meals? Let's find out.
没错，名词 wartime 就是战时，就是战争的时候啦。那介系词这里的 into 就是有着成为或是变成用来表示改变的结果。而 ingredient 因为今天我们要提到美食嘛，所以它其实就是食品的成分或是原料，它是个名词。所以课文整句是在问说，你们有没有想过这个战争时期的这个困难时刻是如何将简单的食材变成美味的佳肴呢？我们一起来探索吧 I can't wait.
The first one we're going to look at today is called Woolton pie. You'll see a picture of it there, and it looks pretty tasty. In England, there's a pie called Woolton pie. Okay, not apple pie, not peach pie, not cherry pie, Woolton pie.OK,
在英国或是英格兰就是 England 有一种派它叫做伍尔顿派。我们先来了解一下这里这个句型，马上就提到我们今天的 Language in Focus 要教大家的文法哦。今天的 Language in Focus 要教大家的是关系子句简化成分词片语哦。如果关系子句太长的时候，可简化为分词片语，能够更简洁的修饰名词及原本的关系子句中的先行词啊。那关系子句简化为分词片语的步骤如下哦。首先你要删去关系代名词，像是 who 啊 which that 等等。那关系子句当中有助动词的时候，也一并删除哦。然后再来就是将动词改为分词。句子为主动语态时，动词为现在分词。那句子为进行式，也就是 be 动词加 VING 的时候呢，只要去除 be 动词，仅保留现在分词，也就是 VING。那如果句子为被动语态，也就是 be 动词加 PP 的时候呢，我们只需要去除 be 动词，仅保留过去分词，也就是 PP。举例来说 The movie that was directed by Steven Spielberg won multiple awards. 这里是 be 动词加 PP 对不对？那我可以这样简略 The movie directed by Steven Spielberg won multiple awards. OK, 再来呢，我们如果要用 be 动词，然后呢接 VING 的话，要怎么省略呢？举例来说，原句如果是 The book that is sitting on the table is mine, 你可以这样简略 The book sitting on the table is mine 都是指那本放在桌子上的书是我的哦。
All right, let's get back to our article. So we're learning about Woolton pie. As I mentioned, it's not apple pie, it's not peach pie or cherry pie. But don't worry, it's not actually pie made of Woolton, because Woolton is not a fruit or anything. Woolton is a person. It was named after Lord Woolton, the British Minister of Food who promoted the dish. So he was famous for making the dish or this food famous. We aren't actually putting Lord Woolton in the pie. We're not that hungry yet. We're not actually eating Lord Woolton. No, we're eating a pie that he promoted. Now, it's not saying that he made the pie. I don't know if Lord Woolton could do much in the kitchen, but he was an important person in the government. He was the British Minister of Food in charge of making sure that the country had enough food during the difficult times in the war. And to promote something is basically to encourage people to like it, to sort of advertise it, to talk about it in a positive way. If you have a new business, maybe your friend's new business or your family member, oh, my friend opened a new noodle shop. You should go. It's so good. I'm kind of promoting it. I could put up signs. I could put ads out somewhere, or I can just kind of tell people how great it is and get more attention and get more people to know about something. So that's what you're doing when you're promoting something. It's something you believe is good and you want more people to know about it so that thing will have more success. For example, the company hopes that if they lower their prices, it will help to promote sales of their products.
Be named after somebody or something. 就是以什么什么之名来命名。For example, the recipe for this delicious pasta dish is named after the chef who created it. 单字 promote 这个动词则是鼓励啊，或是提倡。For example, to promote a healthy lifestyle, the gym offers free fitness classes to all members. Wow.
That's a very good deal. All right, back to the pie. Though the name sounds great, Woolton pie, it is actually a pie without meat. Well, that's okay. But yeah, a lot of meat pies. There's chicken pies, meat pie, things like that. This is a pie without meat. During the hard times of World War II, people didn't have much food. Yes, as we mentioned, food deliveries are hard. They're hard to get farmers in the farms, and a lot of the food is going to the soldiers who are fighting in the war. So people, normal people in the cities and towns of England, for example, they didn't have much food. The supermarkets were pretty empty compared to before the war, and meat was especially scarce. Meat is quite expensive, and it uses a lot of land to make, and so it became harder and harder to have cows and chickens and meat and things like that. So it became scarce. If something is scarce, it's rare, it's hard to find. Maybe it was more common before, but something's changed, and now when you go to the store, I can't find this stuff. Remember at the beginning of COVID when masks and toilet paper was suddenly very scarce? It was really hard to find for a few weeks. That's the kind of thing we're talking about here, just probably because we can't get the supplies or it's very popular, so people keep buying lots of it. For example, the popular movie starts in 15 minutes, so good seats in the theater will be scarce. It will be hard to find a good seat soon, just right before the really popular movie begins.
Okay, scarce 是什么呢？就是不足的、缺乏的，这是一个形容词哦。For example, fresh fruits and vegetables can be scarce during the winter months in colder climates.
All right, so the times were tough, the war was on, but people still wanted delicious food, but meat, for example, was scarce. Well, the article says because of this, because meat was scarce, chefs in London used vegetables they had on hand, such as carrots and potatoes, to make a pie. Normally, you'd use maybe some carrots and potatoes, but you would also use chicken or beef or something. But in this case, they could only find the vegetables on hand, the ones that were convenient. Of course, it's quite easy to grow carrots and potatoes even in your garden at home. So those were still around. Those weren't scarce. So the chefs, these expert cooks, they used these vegetables, these common and cheap vegetables, to make a tasty pie.
Okay, chef, don't say chef, okay, 它就是厨师哦，所以它是 ch 是发 sh 的音，它是个名词。 而课文还提到了 on hand 这个片语，这里是指可以运用的。For example, I always keep a first aid kit on hand in case of emergencies.
That's very wise. So the pie's main ingredients, remember, probably carrots, potatoes, possibly some peas or onions, something like that. So these main ingredients were mixed with thickened vegetable water, sometimes flour and butter, and topped with mashed potatoes.
Yum.
So all things that were, not too hard to find and not too expensive as well. It says some people added cheese for extra taste. Ooh, if you were lucky enough to get a nice piece of cheese, you could put some of that in your pie to make it even more delicious. And yes, flour was one of the things they would use to make the water thicker. Flour is basically grain in this case, or in many cases, probably wheat, a kind of grass that you grow on a farm. And then you take the seeds of that, you crush it up until you have this very kind of light powder, but it's made of wheat or grain, so that is called flour. Generally, when we say flour, we mean wheat flour, but you can also have corn flour, rice flour, barley flour, any of those grains that can be dried and then crushed to make a powder. That powder will be called flour, and of course, you can use that to bake bread and do all sorts of wonderful things. For example, the baker's clothes, hands, and face were all covered in flour. It looks like he walked through a white cloud.
Okay, flour 是什么呢？就是面粉啦，它是一个名词哦。For example, Mom used flour to make the delicious pancakes we had for breakfast. And we also mentioned my favorite, mashed potatoes. 我超爱吃这个马铃薯泥，大家觉得好吃吗？它是一个名词哦，所以我们课文是说这个 pie 呢，它是 topped with mashed potatoes. Top 在这里是动词，就是指给什么覆盖上一层什么什么，所以常见用法是 top something with something else.
There you go. So the article says the pie was simple but filling, which enabled families to get through hard times by using all they had. So yes, definitely a simple pie. It doesn't take a lot of fancy things. Filling, that means it fills you up. You could eat a piece of this pie or some pie for dinner and not be hungry until breakfast the next day. So that was good. And this enabled families to get through the hard times of the war, but still have tasty, healthy food. To enable is basically to allow you to do something, to make it possible or to make it capable. If you learn things, this will enable you to learn more complicated things. If you have skills, these will enable you to do things, right? If you take 3 years of piano classes, that will enable you to play the piano. It will give you the ability or make it so that you can do something. For example, this key will enable you to open the front door of my apartment. Without the key, you will not be enabled to enter that building.
I see. Okay. 刚刚课文有提到一个字，就是 filling， 大家知道是什么意思吗？其实它是现在分词当做形容词用，表示这个食物是使人容易饱的，有饱足感的哦。那 enable 这个动词就是使能够，所以当我们提到 enable somebody or something to do something， 就是使某人或是某事物能够做什么什么。举个例子我比较清楚。The new software update will enable users to access advanced features on their smartphones. Nice. And we also saw the phrase get through something, 就是熬过类似困境等等哦。With his positive attitude, Jack was able to get through the difficult times and emerge even stronger.
Good for you, Jack. All right, back to the article. This pie was a brilliant solution to the meat shortages caused by the war. There you go. A very clever or intelligent solution or answer to the problem of meat shortages. Yeah, if something's brilliant, we're not talking about a bright light, like the sun is very brilliant, so you shouldn't look at it. No, here we're talking about an idea or a person's intelligence. If you have a brilliant idea or a brilliant plan, it's very smart and intelligent and good. And if you say that guy is brilliant or my sister is brilliant, that means they're very intelligent, very smart, and probably get lots of high marks and grades and scores at school. Here's an example. Wow, what a brilliant idea. I wish I had thought of that. And we also had the word solution here. A solution is an answer to a puzzle or a problem. If I say 2 plus 2, what's the answer?
4.
That's the correct solution. Or if it's another problem like, oh, I have to get to the airport, but I only have 45 minutes. What would be a solution? I don't know. Find a helicopter or something like that. That would be an answer to a problem in the real world, or it could be a problem in your math homework, but the answer could be a solution as well. Can you help me find that solution to this math problem? I'm really confused.
Okay, I have to be very brilliant to answer that. Okay, brilliant 就是很棒的啊，或是很聪明、很高明的意思，它是一个形容词。For example, Sarah's brilliant idea helped the team solve the problem in no time. 那这里我们提到的 brilliant solution 是什么呢？就是解决办法，它是一个名词哦。那我们常会用 solution to something， 就是表示某事的解决办法。For example, talking to a therapist can provide a solution to managing stress and anxiety. Last, we saw the word shortage. It's a noun, and it means 缺乏或是短缺的意思。
All right, let's get to our chat question. What kind of pies do you like, Laura? Talk about them.
It's very similar to actually what we talked about today, which is I like shepherd's pie.
Good choice.
Because it has a delicious mashed potato topping that I love. And I actually prefer savory, like pies. Not so much, not a big fan of sweet
not like
ones.
Sweet dessert pies or dinner pies like the Wilton pie as well.
So in case you guys are wondering, this shepherd's pie has a savory filling made with seasoned ground meat and vegetables, which gives it a rich flavor. And also, I think shepherd's pie is comforting and hearty, like making it the perfect comfort food on a cold day.
I agree.
Don't you think?
Oh, yes. My wife makes a wonderful shepherd's pie, and we love having it on a cold Taipei winter night. There you go, guys. You can have good food even in the worst of times. And we're going to find out more about interesting war foods tomorrow when we'll be eating a food that was created in a war much closer to here in Taiwan. So come back and join us for that.
大家如果喜欢今天的主题，你还可以到空中家教和真人老师互动练习哦。拜拜。
Bye bye. Vocabulary Review.
Promote. The school is promoting healthy eating habits by offering more fish, fruits, and vegetables. Scarce. Water is scarce in the desert because it is a very dry place. Almost no rain falls there. Flour. Susan's cake was terrible because she used the wrong kind of flour to make it. Enable. Airplanes are wonderful machines that enable people to travel all over the world very quickly. Brilliant. Putting the couch against the wall was a brilliant way to create more space in the living room. Solution. Stop worrying and think for a moment. I'm sure we can find a good solution to the problem.
智慧小补帖
Ingredient. Chef. Mashed potato. Shortage.